Hey girls, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about me. Little whatever. So I'm 33. My name's Bianca. My full name is not what I post on the internet. But my initials are BOT, like bot. I was born on the 12th of April in 1992 in Bentley, Victoria. I am a Aries sun, a Leo moon, and a Pisces rising. I lived in Melbourne, Victoria up until end of 2018. When I was in Melbourne, I was a massive party girl. I have a year 9 pass in school. Never studied really anything after that. I started working, I had all sorts of jobs, and I was fired or had a screaming match and quit with pretty much every single employee that I've ever had bar one, and that one would never hire me again because I had about 90 days off of work while I was recovering from an ice addiction, which I got from about the age of 19 to 23. I worked at Boost Juice, Gloria Jeans, Love Machine nightclub. I was a bartender. I got fired from all of these jobs. I worked at BMW. I worked at Johnson & Johnson. I had every single job you could think of with someone with a year 9 pass. I was always really good at getting jobs, gift of the gab. I could slay a resume and slay an interview, but get me in a job for longer than a specific amount of time and I cannot do it. I love music. I love dancing. I love movement. I love expression and expansion of self and encouraging others to do the same. I thoroughly enjoy other people being happy. I ask for signs from my ancestors, and there is literally one there. I asked to see a dragonfly the other day, and there's one just literally hovering outside my balcony then. What the hell? Anyway, I've been living in Sydney since 2018, and I have been working in the adult industry since then with full service. Prior to that, I was in Melbourne doing erotic massage without any sensuality or finishing, no genitalia touching or anything like that. But when I moved to Sydney, I did start working here, which I was absolutely mortified when I first got a job here. I got a job working as a hire controller, so I'd had a Melbourne job for about 4 years, and I was in access lift equipment hire, and there is a lot of specific specs you need to learn about that, and it's quite long to learn, so once you know it, you're likely to get a job anywhere. So end of 2018 in Melbourne, I was kicked out of my place, going through another rock bottom hard time, and I had a real problem with alcohol, so I decided I'm going to move to Sydney. I don't know anyone there. I'm going to put all my shit in a bus, and I'm just going to come up and I'm going to get sober. So I applied for a job at Lend-Lease, and I got it. And 2 weeks later was on a bus coming up to Sydney. I honestly don't remember the bus ride. I was on Xanax, but I took my push bike up because I lost my license a few years before that, and I got a DUI and had to ride a push bike for 2 years, and then got an interlock in my car because I had such a problem with drinking. I would consecutively blow over every single time the day after I drank. So I just thought, what's the point of bringing this car up to Sydney? I'm just going to bring a push bike and continue riding a push bike all day, every day. Did not realise that Sydney was just constantly like inclines, and it was brutal. So I came to Sydney, had a job at Lend-Lease. I was there for maybe 3 weeks. I don't even drink coffee, and I was having 7 coffees a day, and I'm falling asleep at the desk. I was setting an alarm for 15 minutes and sleeping in the fetal position on a disabled toilet floor to try and stay awake. I was miserable. And every day I was taking a train there going over the harbour into North Sydney. I was like, what am I doing? I'm going to start doing erotic massage again. So I I was like, I'll just start doing naked massage. But the legislation and sex worker laws in New South Wales are very different to Victoria, and they're a lot easier to obtain off your license. So everywhere was FS, with a mandatory hand finish. So I was mortified. I'll never forget the first one I ever did. I could not make him finish, and there was mirrors all around the room, and I just remember looking over at myself doing the thing and just looking at this man's face, just looking all around the room, anywhere but me, and it was just so uncomfortable. We finished, well, no one finished, but the timing finished, and he went and booked another girl immediately after me, and I never went back to that establishment because I was just so embarrassed. Obviously I figured it out, and I started working and just adapted to the situation. When COVID hit in 5 years ago now, that is when I went private. Up until then, I didn't think I was good enough to do that, and a lot of establishments will kind of let you believe that to be the truth as well. Don't fall for it. But there are definitely benefits of working in an establishment, a lot of. So I've been a private for some time. In 2022, I got rhinoplasty. In 2022 and a half and 2023, I lost my mind because I couldn't recognize my face after rhinoplasty and had a complete identity crisis that went on for 2.5 years. I moved to the Gold Coast and quit work altogether with the mindset that I was going to just do OF because I had a lot of content stored up because I would film with clientele. However, the day before I was set to move to the Gold Coast, OF audited my page and deleted all of my content. I lost everything. And not only did I lose everything, every single person was asking for refunds because they lost their video. So I was on my way to another state with the plan to just do OF full time, with that completely taken away because I lost all my content. And I was going through such a difficult visual time with myself that I couldn't bear the thought of working both online or in this situation. I managed to finesse a client to pay me for my rent for that time while I was there and live off the savings that I had for about 10 months. In this time, I had a very aggressive eating disorder. I was bulimic, with binge eating, heavily bulimic. And I decided to go to Bali to try and fix the bulimia because I was struggling. Possibly moving to a state where I didn't know anybody when I was in the midst of a serious crisis was not the smartest move. The problem follows you when you don't have community. So I went to Bali for 2 months. I did an Ayurvedic retreat called One World, where they do something called a Panchakarma detox that detoxes your body on a cellular level. It was a 21-day out of a 28-day possible course, which involved enemas, sweating, bloodletting via leeches, a whole lot of massages, a whole lot of not food, and a lot of purging. So I did that for 21 days. Highly spiritual after that. And then I accidentally found myself in a kind of sex cult in Ubud with a whole bunch of Russians and an Indian man, and he put some sort of hex on me, and I got violently ill and had to go see medicine women in the mountains of Ubud to try and get whatever they put on me off of me. After that experience, I lost my period for 5 months. I do think it was an accumulation of whatever that man did. He held down my sacral chakra, and then it was completely blocked after that, and I was also violently bulimic. So it took me 5 months to get my period back. When I left Bali, I decided I'm going to move back to Sydney. The person living in my house in Queensland at the time robbed me and stole all of my property and sold it all for drugs. And then I rectified that situation and I moved back to Sydney, and that was in 2023 at the end of the year, and I moved to Clovelly. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. I love yoga. I love dance. I love expressing myself. I love to feel free. I do not like to feel caged, judged, or closed off or restricted in myself and expression. And when I do, I become a very small version of myself. Yeah, that's just a little insight.